Guess anyone that knows me well knows I hate these things. People are like, oh, it's so quick and easy and cheap. I'm going to tell you now, it's so much faster to do it and cheaper, and you get way more food out of it if you do it this way. This box is maybe 99 cents, 80 cents if you get it on special. Has about 100 grams of pasta in it. The rest is like powder and stuff that you mix with things. The cooking instructions are: you boil your water. That's French. You boil your water. You cook the pasta for 6 to 8 minutes, depending on how firm you like it. Stirring occasionally. Then you have to drain it. Then you add a tablespoon of non-hydrogenated margarine. I don't even know what that means. 1/3 of a cup of skim milk, and the cheese mix, which is the little satchel they give you. You stir it around, then you toss your pasta into it, and then you mix well. All up, the dish does take 10 minutes. Like by the time you screw around and do all that, it takes 10 minutes. For the same amount of money, I'm going to cook for 2 people, and each person is going to eat twice as much as what's in this box. We'll get rid of that box, and I'll show you how to do it. It's so easy, and you have way more variety, and it's so much tastier. So this amount of pasta, which is 4 times the amount of pasta that's in that dollar box over there, costs 20 cents. Then we've got a scoop of actual butter. You can use margarine if that's all you've got, that's fine. A little bit of olive oil here. 2 mushrooms, 2 Brussels sprouts, total cost of about 30 cents. 1 big chunk of garlic, and 1 whole tomato, but we don't need the whole thing. We're going to cut it in half, so this tomato is going to cost about 20 cents. Then a little bit of green onion, not all of it, and then just any like Italian style seasoning to sprinkle around, give it a little bit extra flavor. This meal, it will take the same amount of time to cook as what it does to boil your pasta. Super easy. We'll come over here, we'll grab this pasta. The water's boiling. I always put a little bit of oil in the top there to keep, so when we keep stirring it, it'll stop the pasta from sticking together. Okay, so we just put our pasta in there. So we've got 6 to 8 minutes to make the rest of it before we strain that and toss it into the sauce. This is the fun part. Super easy. These oil and butter, they're just cooking mediums. Now I'm going to use a little knife. It's not a chef knife, it's any knife you can have in your house. And you can just hack up some mushrooms. Unless you like big slices, I like to like divvy it up a little bit. And cut it into little chunks. Just so that it sort of spreads out more instead of just getting 3 chunks of mushroom. There's your Brussels sprouts. Cut the back ends off them because they're the hardest part to cook. Now, if you come down here a little bit, if you slice Brussels sprouts thin enough, you can do it root ways, or if you turn it up on its edge here, you're going to separate the leaves a little more, and the thinner you can cut them, I'm only joking. The thinner you can cut them, the quicker they'll cook. And you don't want them to be all mushy. You still want them to be green and a little bit, get a little bit of crisp out of them, but you want to cook that cabbage flavor out of them. So we're going to work them in there. When you fry them up with the garlic, this is a humongous piece of, it's more like an enchilada than a clove of garlic, but you can use whatever garlic takes your fancy. If you've got what do you call it, that garlic that's all blended already and in the jar, crushed garlic, you can use that. You can use powdered garlic if you're desperate, but I'm telling you now, we're making a natural dish, so we want that fresh flavors. And you don't have to be too special with it. Just slice it up, chop it roughly, get those nice little crunchy bits of garlic in there. Scoop that up, and then what we're going to do is we're going to take half of this. We don't want it to be a tomato dish, but having some nice little chunks of tomato in there just changes it up a little bit, gives it a little bit of pizzazz, if you like. So then we've got our tomatoes chopped here, green onions chopped just to finish with. I'm going to put these in at the end. Now, if you're cooking from the beginning, you can use the root end, that's like having an onion. That can fry for a lot longer. But when you're using the outer part of the onion, the green onion, if you put it in at first, it turns like super soft and slushy, and you don't want that. You want it to be crisp. So you add it right in at the end before you toss it and serve it. Chopped all that stuff within under a minute. The pasta still has another 5 minutes to go, so we can go watch a little bit of television, have a cigarette, whatever your fancy is, and come back to it. Making a dish like this, we're not trying to really fry anything. We more like want to sweat it off. So olive oil is a very low heat kind of cooking medium. Butter is quite the opposite. It's super high in heat, and mixed together they actually balance each other out quite nicely. So you see I'm putting that in there. There's no like smoke coming up. It's just butter's melting slowly, and you want to get all that olive oil flavor in there as well. So here's our mix of mushrooms, garlic, and Brussels sprouts. Now mushrooms want to suck up all that butter, so you just got to leave them for a little while. And at first the mushroom will suck it up, but as the mushroom starts to sweat, the butter will be pushed back out. And you just want to keep that moving around a little bit. Add a little bit of your, see I've got the selection, the cheapest one. Just a little bit of Italian herbs in there for flavor. You don't need too much of it. And then just let that cook for about a minute. This pasta still has, still got about 2 minutes to go. Should be just enough time to finish the sauce off. It's not really a sauce, it's just something to mix it in with. Just let that sweat off a little bit. And don't forget a little bit of the old Uncle Nate's for flavor. Add as little or as much as you need. Don't forget that this one spreads out a lot in the liquid. So, alright, we're about 6 minutes into it, and that's pretty much ready. The pasta's still got a minute to go. Okay, 8 minutes all up. Pasta's nice and al dente. Same amount of time it takes to cook the little macaroni in a box meal. Just want to toss that around, because especially like anything with a hole in it or a couple of lines usually sucks up more water, so you want to make sure it's like nice and strained. You don't want to let it go too dry, but it's turning quite nicely. Then we bring that over to the pan here. Turn the heat off. A little bit of salt and pepper. Chuck it in. And all the butter and oil should nicely coat that pasta. And all of those flavors are going to be in every bite. With a little bonus of a couple extra chunks. For the same price as a box meal, you get to feed 2 people twice as much pasta. So we're going to move it over to here. Pour it into a bowl. It looks dry, but it's not. It's nice and oily. This butter coating everything. A little bit of that beautiful olive oil with all those big chunks of garlic and tomato in there. It was actually too much for 2 people to eat. What a shame. So, leave a bit there to nibble at later. We want to grab our green onion, which you can mix in as you eat. To finish it off, whoop, it's a new one. We're gonna put some parmesan, and that'll bind everything together as you stir it, and help everything stick, and give you a nice cheesy meal. So there you go. Absolutely delicious. Same price, more food. Takes the same amount of time. This took less than 10 minutes. Delicious. And done.